And in terms of me going on my ordination process, it's quite interesting how, for example, in our studies, I'm the only Black lady who is going through the LMP course right now. But it doesn't feel like that when I'm there. I feel included, I feel comfortable, I feel safe. Yes. And so actually, I'm just another student who's going along yes. and being encouraged and nurtured and challenged by the academic training. And I think that moves things from welcome to the belonging. Yes. You feel safe, you feel valued, you feel loved, and you give that back because yes. it's just not. It's not one way. So I think from that perspective, I feel encouraged. And when I'm able to at church, go and maybe give a sermon or various other tasks that I'm doing, it's the ability to. It's Janet. It's not this yes. person of colour. It's Janet, that's doing this. And that's where, as you said, we talked earlier about lines being blurred so yes. that we're not talking, oh, Janet is the first Black person to do X, Y, and Z, yes. but Janet is a member of this church who God has called. Yes. And I think for me, that was really exciting in terms of having been in St John's probably 6 months when I began to think that I was hearing the call of God, and then having to go to minister who potentially, has known me for that length of time. Yes. And the surprise that he was saying, actually, God had given me your name. You are meant to go forward. I mean, there's obviously this fear, it's like, but actually there was no sense of, any colour in it. It yes. was just this recognition, and that to me is that belonging. Yes. Or when you're not there and people say, oh, were you on holiday? I missed you. You are truly kind of ingratiated into yes. the family. Yes. And I think that's the belonging thing for me.
It is, and it really is, because when you are in an environment and you forget your race,
yes,
and especially when there is history in your race of segregation, of feelings of inferiority, and then where you're in a situation where you are made to forget because it's not an issue.
Yes,
then that's where you feel like you actually belong. And I think for me, I do feel that. I feel that so much because 15 years ago, you would never have got me to move to another country. Why would I? Jamaica is beautiful. But I've come here and I've found a home. And I'm thinking, this is my home. And these people are my family, everyone that's in this church, regardless of their nationality or ethnicity, they're my family and I belong here. And that helps me now to give that to other people. And my heart really is, I want to give you a home. And so when I had the opportunity to develop something, when we developed the Hope Hub here, my vision was, I want people to come in and feel so loved that they don't want to leave. And whether this is someone on the team, whether this is someone who just comes in every week just because they need to socialize or find a space, I want to say, I see you and I love you. And, just give them that smile and have that conversation. And that's my way of saying, you've got a home here. And for me, that's very important. That's my heart, because loving people is what drives me. I mean, there's nothing else. Is for me, it's that driving force of seeing the lonely brought into community, seeing the lonely brought into family. I was in one of the shopping centers a while back, and there's someone who connects with us in a bit, and she was walking with a friend, and she said, oh, she's from the church. They take such good care of me there. And I really love to hear her say that. People come in and I go, oh, so happy to see you. I'm genuinely happy to see you. I'm not making this up. You're my family. I call you my family. And we get excited when new people come in, because we just want to grab them up and love them. And I think one of the things that I think the Lord has taught me is that it doesn't matter who you are. Every single person on this earth will always respond to love. And that's our job, is to love people, welcome them, so they then can have a sense of belonging. We give what we have gotten. I'm giving what I've gotten, and I just want to keep giving. I think of this, there's a song that we used to sing as children. Love is something, if you give it away, it comes right back to you. Yeah. And it's like, and I realize it doesn't matter how much I love people. It doesn't diminish. The cup is always full. It doesn't run out. So you can't love people too much. You can't give too much love, because love just keeps flowing over and over.
Yeah, that's lovely. I love that. And I think for me, something I might want to challenge the church to do is, I just wonder whether welcome and belonging and different events is such an important thing to unite people in our congregations, whether we should have somebody on PCC who is responsible for that sort of thing. It might be that they are in charge of the welcoming team, they might be in charge of social events, and then they can look at, men's and women's events and international events, and actually diversity, not only racial, but all sorts of diversity in the church. Yes. And if it's given that level of importance, churches can start to look at their demographics in different, over different years, and think, well, actually, we've got, a few new people from Zimbabwe, for example. And if that's the case, then how are we going to help? Yes. Make them feel comfortable, make them feel welcome, find out, perhaps what they've done in past churches and whether, there's some giftings that they want to share. But I think it needs somebody who's watching that.
To be deliberate.
Yes, to be deliberate about it. And I would like to see it as being something that is part of the PCC, that, just over years, because sometimes, people join churches and we don't really know all the backgrounds, we don't know, but there should be somebody that, if it's possible, that can be dedicated to checking those sorts of things out. Yes. And then linking in with the vicar, and linking in with the pastoral team, linking in with the life group coordinator, all those sorts of things. Because I think then we'd catch people, and we would perhaps do a better job, if you like, of welcoming. Yes. And what you were saying earlier, of acknowledging people's different ways of doing things and celebrating those bits. I know for myself, there are some days I'll be singing gospel music, but then there'll be other days when the Tazy style appeals to me. Yes. And the listening of the Psalms, the singing of Psalms. I might not be able to do it myself, I'm afraid, but it's beautiful if I hear it. And so, but it's getting close to God in all those different ways. And the more we can share, if you like, our styles of worship, our styles of praise, then, I think the much better our church families will be, and much richer for it.